Smash that limiter!
Welcome everybody, how's it going?
Hello, everyone. How are you?
Welcome to this glorious Sunday that is in Australia. We're
Yes.
gonna start off with the day with a bit of alcohols for a sneaky drink at 9:55 in the morning.
No, yeah. Just a casual beer.
Yeah. All right. We have to do this thing. So you go first. Before you go first, because you got.
Okay, I'll see.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is gonna be really tricky
Yeah.
because I have a really weird can opener. It's not like a standard can opener.
Well, you
it's a
should get.
multi-tool can opener. All right, ready,
Oh,
ready, ready.
yeah.
Shut up, shut up, shut up! Everyone, shut up!
Oh yeah, that was nice. That was a nice part. All right, so I'm gonna hang on. I don't know if that was good. I got it all over me. That's all right.
I didn't hear it.
Oh, you didn't hear? Fuck off.
Well, I mean, okay, maybe stream heard it, but I didn't hear it on Discord.
It came up on the bloody. It went green on the video monitoring. Oh, it doesn't matter. I'm drinking some
Next time.
some hard solo, now hard rated.
Mhm.
Which actually perfectly brings into this title. Stupid is as stupid does. My favourite line from old Forrest Gump.
Yeah, which is one of my favorite, actually probably my favorite movie ever made.
It really is. I love it. I recently watched what was that Tom Hanks movie that I just recently watched? It was
I have no idea.
oh fuck, what was it about?
Well,
It was
what was it about?
Otto.
Otto. Oh yeah.
yeah,
Otto was that. I've seen that
that-
movie. It's really fun.
That movie's fucking good and so sad as well. Cause like me and Ray were watching it and Ray was in tears at the end.
Yeah,
of
I
it
could
when he
imagine.
died. It was really heartwarming. It just took a strong woman to come along and just say, "Cut your shit." Be a good person, for fuck's sake. I know you are, because like he's all angry all the time and grumpy and telling everyone off for being in the street, but he carries on and that. But at the end of the day, he does everything for the community. He like the neighbors just like, oh, shut up, Otto. Like, but at the end of the day, like they trust him and they rely on him to help them, like look after them. So it's
Yeah.
like it's really, really like it was really heartwarming. And also another tie thing is like he says everyone's stupid. I like the line where he's like teaching the neighbor to drive manual. He's like freaking
Yeah.
out, and there's that guy beeping at him, and Aldo like pulls him out and threatens to kill him. And like, oh, by the way, I'm sorry for spoiling this, but I don't care. Anyway, and he just says to her, and this is all in the trailer anyway, but he says to her, it's like, you have successfully you've given birth to 2 children and you're currently raising them and you're about to give birth to your 3rd one. You have traveled from another country to settle here and have built your life with your idiot husband, and you're a strong, smart woman. You are not stupid. You can drive stick. You will drive stick. Just calm down and just simplify it and go. And then he said, like, what you do is like clutch in, shift, drive. And then she like took a breath and then did it, and then later, like throughout time of the show, obviously she's driving fine. And I love that. It's really, really like really lovely to watch a film like that, and you can't have anyone but Tom Hanks do that sort of role.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I also, so the reason why the topic comes up, and I kind of want to talk about this. This is what I kind of want for the topic today, Spliffy, is share stories of the dumb shit we or others have done.
Oh god, have I got a few of those?
Oh yeah, so do I. So what sparked it was last night. We had a call out. It was a refueling tanker had an accident happen, and he accidentally like unloaded thousands of liters of unleaded fuel on the service station on the road and went everywhere. So we called out and we just dumped some sand on it and spread it all out, just to absorb up all the fuel. Now,
Yeah.
mind you, this is on a 40-degree day, so it was hot and the fumes were pretty crazy. Like we were making sure as well, like no one was near the area, particularly someone who smoked, because if you lit a cigarette around this place, the whole thing would have gone up.
Yeah.
We would have fucking ran.
If you had time to run.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Doesn't matter if you have time, you got to try.
Yes.
So it wasn't dangerous or anything like that, but like it could have been. So we went and cleaned it up, and then the council comes in afterwards and collects all the soil that we done and dump it. But so the police were there, we were there, so we've got the fire truck blocking the right-hand road, the right-hand lane, like across from a roundabout. And then we got cones like blocking the driveways of the service station, because there's two service stations side by side. One's an unmanned one and one's a manned one. But different companies, but doesn't matter. So we had to block off both of them because the fuel obviously was running down and then it was going to the gutter and then going down the gutter down the road.
Ew.
So we blocked off the whole section that it was on. And so we got these signs, not signs, we got these traffic cones, we got police. And what does this fucking numpty from New South Wales do? He drives over the cones, like through the cones, and then drives through the cones of the driveway that we had blocked off, through the fuel, to drive through the fuel on the road.
Holy shit.
And like, because like when I first started doing my firefighter training, they said that you got to be real careful. It like with accidents and stuff like that, you just got to be really mindful of the public, because the public are really stupid.
Yeah.
To put it bluntly, they really are. They'll put themselves in harm's way to try and get a photo or try and have a nosy beak, or they just don't like register what's going on. Like they just anyway. And my captain was just like yelling at this guy as he's going through the cone. He's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And then the cop just goes up and he goes, "Are you like, what are you doing? Like, you can't, do you not see the cones and me here?" Like, the guy's like, and cops just like, "Get out. Reverse out, go. Don't come back."
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And he just like reverses out and then drives off. And I'm just like thinking, how can you be so stupid? Like there's cones everywhere and police, and like the fuel's really obvious because like it's really dark and it's massive. Like all the ground's just like basically you as you saw the photos. I can't show the photos on podcast because I don't want to dox myself. But like it was a mess. It was a bit of a mess. It wasn't bad. Like I said, it took us 2 hours to clean it up, but like, how do you not fucking realize that? And then like my cat was telling like heaps of stories where like there was a crash and they were there and they had the reduced speed and everything like that. No, it wasn't reduced speed, sorry, because it was off the side of the road, so they didn't bother because they were out of harm's way. And the roads around here were 110. So they're 110 kilometers per hour, so they're not slow roads. And they're on the side of the road and they're helping out this accident or whatever. And this dude literally stops in the middle of the highway on a 110-kilometer road to take photos.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And then Captain was just yelling at him like, you get moving, you're gonna cause an issue. Because like if a truck comes up behind him and he's like holding up traffic as well, maybe they did reduce the speed of it. Anyway, he stopped. He stopped and he was taking photos, regardless of. I reckon they would have had to reduce the speed limit. He stopped to take photos and he was like holding up traffic and stuff like that. But that action alone could have caused another accident. And I see it all the fucking time when I used to live back in the city. Like, you'll be driving home and there'll be like an REA van on the side of the road with a broke down vehicle, and some numpty just thinks that they want to have a sticky bit on what he's broken down for, and they slow down to 25 and then bang, someone behind him rear ends him. And you know what? He's at fault because he shouldn't be slowing down 25 for RAA, which is the roadside assistance in the state that I live in. So
Actually,
it's
that's a
like,
question I have for you about that. I'll get to that once you finish your
yeah,
point.
yeah, and then what happens, right? So an accident happens, and then the police get there, get on the scene, and they slow down the traffic and whatnot. And then you know
Yeah.
what happens after that? You'll probably get 3 to 4 more accidents because of that exact reason. People have a sticky bit, not paying attention, and smash into someone, or someone reverse drives into them because they've slowed down for no reason. Like, oh, it happens so much. Or people on their phone, like that's a pet peeve of mine.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah, that's a stupid thing to do. I've like been driving home from work and like someone will have YouTube playing in their dash.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I wish I had the power to just get out of my car and just cut up their license and say they have to walk home. I wish I had that power. I would do that. I would give no chances. If I was a copper, I would like it's different if someone like their phone dropped on the ground and you pick it up and move it. Like I've known people being done for that because you're not allowed to touch your phone at all.
Yeah.
But like if for example someone was just like their phone fell on the ground, they literally just picked it up and put it somewhere. I wouldn't fine them for that. Like what I would fine them for is continuously texting, Snapchatting, like
Oh yeah, definitely.
yeah. Because like hands calling, I wouldn't do anything with because most of it's hands free these days anyway.
Yeah.
But texting and Facebooking and Snapchatting and whatever you're doing, like it's too many people on the road.
I don't even know how people are able to do that because you gotta look at the
I
road
can't
to
do
see
it.
like where you're going. I can't do it either. Fuck no.
If I didn't, the only time I ever like have to touch my phone if I'm driving, it's usually because I end up pulling over because of it, is when I got Spotify open, and you know those times when Spotify like kind of wigs out and like crashes on you.
No, I don't really use Spotify. If I do,
Yeah.
if I do listen to anything, I'll throw up like a podcast and then Bluetooth it to my radio.
Yeah, well,
And then I'll just put
yeah.
my phone down after that.
Like my car's completely hands free. Like everything's on the steering wheel. Like I don't have to take my hands off the steering wheel to do anything.
Yeah.
But it's sometimes Spotify will like just randomly shut down on me while I'm like listening to music.
How weird.
It's annoying. And so I would have to open it up, and usually I just sometimes I'll go, hey Google, open Spotify, and then do it hands free. But even that doesn't work half the time. Oh look, my phone just did it. it just opened Spotify.
Yeah.
The one time I don't need you to do it. Anyway, so I had to get it back to the podcast.
Fair enough.
So I'll quickly go on there and just click the Spotify logo, and that'll be about it. But I also have a phone holder, a quad lock holder as well. So it's right next to my steering wheel, so I don't even need to take my hands off the steering wheel to do it nowadays. Technically, you're not allowed to do that, but it's not. I'm not sitting there texting. To me, that's the same as just using a dial on your radio, like turn the volume up or something like that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But yeah, man. See some stupid shit. Really stupid shit. Tell me some of your stories.
Oh, the infinite number of BMW drivers that don't use their fucking blinkers.
That's our whole state.
Yeah. I had like a little bit of like just a small tangent.
Yeah.
I had a little bit of like I don't know I had let a little bit of thought to myself. So if I was ever at a BMW dealership, and then one of the dealership people came up to me and said, "Hey, would you ever consider buying a BMW?" My immediate response would be, "No, I don't want people to think I don't know how to drive. Thank you." And I reckon BMW salespeople, I reckon their own clients are their worst enemy. Because I reckon there's actually part of the problem with selling BMWs is the fact that all their people don't want to have that reputation just for having a car.
I think as well the type of people that buy BMWs go for the brand and the the class. So a lot of
Yeah.
BMW owners are like that upper class, not upper middle.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
they're above the middle. So like
Yeah.
generally like they're making more than 100,000 a year sort of scenario. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously you get people that have like older BMWs and stuff like that because BMWs devalue so much that secondhand BMWs are really cheap. Because
Yeah.
let's be honest, they're a shit car brand. Like
I'm not
they're-
a fan of them.
they're beautiful, brand new.
I wouldn't even call them. I wouldn't even call them that. I wouldn't even call them a
they are.
beautiful brand new.
They
No,
are pretty
they're a
brand
really
new.
gross car. They're really gross. They're really ugly. I hate them.
Well, it depends what one you get. Like if you get an M5,
No,
Level
all
3,
of
they're
them.
nice looking.
No, all of them. They're disgusting. I hate them.
I don't like. I've had to work on BMWs with mates and stuff like that.
How
and watch
painful
them.
was that?
Oh, incredibly! They're shit. They're
Yeah.
terrible. They shouldn't be sold in Australia.
Unlike the Toyota Champ, which should be sold in Australia because
Fucking
I
oath, that
fucking
should
want
be.
one.
Yeah, that's an idiot decision.
Yeah.
Australian
And
government. Anyway.
I think one of the dumbest things I ever witnessed, or I probably think of more things in the future,
Yeah.
but basically, I had this one guy in the left-hand lane,
Yeah.
and I was, I basically he'd be doing say about 100, sticking around 100, and then I start overtaking them, and then we come up to a truck, and then all of a sudden, the truck in the left-hand lane, I'm still in the right-hand lane, and I got this guy directly to my left in the left-hand lane, right? And just as I'm getting close to, getting past the truck, he speeds up to like 120 and like basically gets between me and the truck. He's basically got the equivalent of like one car width between me and the truck to slip in between that lane.
Yeah.
Still doing 120, gets back into the left-hand lane, and then that was kind of fucking weird. Surely that won't happen again. And then it happens again, and then it gets back into the left-hand lane. I'm thinking, well, surely he won't do it for a third fucking time, right? But then he does it for a third fucking time. I was so fucking annoyed with that guy. I've had a lot of situations where someone is like, you have like your car fits in that space between me and the car just to my right. There was enough room for your car, and you were going to take that risk for some fucked up reason.
No, I know.
I've also had people in the right hand lane just to my right, and I'm in the left hand lane, and then that's when they realize, oh, this is my exit, and I had one person literally, I had to slam on the brakes and literally jolt my car to the basically turn my wheel. Jolt my wheel to the left to narrowly miss this person who goes over the hypothetical island to get into their exit because they are all the way from the right-hand side lane. I'm thinking, are you fucking serious?
That's like the other day. I had a fucking Victorian do a hook turn in front of me when I was driving down the main street.
Oh yeah, not in Victoria. I'm saying.
No, this is my fucking
not in
hometown.
Victoria?
We don't do hook turns here.
No, hook turns is exclusively a Victorian thing.
Yeah, and the only reason why you do it is because of the tram lane. That's the only reason why you do it. But which makes sense in that scenario. But yeah, he was in the left-hand lane and he just randomly fucking turned right from it. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, if I wasn't paying attention, I would have like fucking plowed straight through his caravan. Dumb fuck. Anyway.
Oh, fucking hell.
There's this. Have you seen this? This has gone all on the news.
No, I don't watch the news.
Yeah, I don't either, but I just still get it. Like, look at this dumbass.
Oh, this looks like fun. Let's have a look at this.
So he's overtaking. So this lane.
Oh, I can see where this is going.
So this lane terminates to one lane, and he's overtaking him on a bend. This is coming up to a bend.
Oh, no fucking way.
Yeah.
So he's in the wrong lane, is he?
Yeah. Yeah, he's on the wrong side of the road now.
Oh my fucking god.
Now look how long the road train is that he's trying to overtake.
Dude, forget about it. Get back in your fucking lane.
I know. See how many fucking carriages that road train's got? Now, for context, that road train he's trying to overtake, those little bins, they're filled with like a mineral sand, like I've forgotten what it's called. Each one of those trailers is like 80 ton.
Holy shit.
There's like 4 or 5 trailers. So that's how heavy that road train is. And this dumb fuck's trying to bloody get in front of them. Fucking idiot. Yeah, it was very silly. He lost his license for a year. So
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
so stupid, so stupid. But anyway,
He could have killed
Oh,
someone.
fucking oath! It's so easily and this is.
It looks
also,
like he almost did too.
Yeah, he did. The scary thing is these days like trucks, trucks are always in a hurry, and the reason why they're in a hurry is because they also have a deadline. So truck drivers aren't allowed to drive more than X amount of hours in a day. If they
Yeah, I think it's 8 hours in a day or something like that.
Yeah, if they drive any more than that, they'll get fined. And there's cameras in our state. There's cameras everywhere that monitor that. So as soon as you enter the state, they take a photo of your truck, and they will calculate how many hours you've been driving for. And if you're over that threshold and you haven't taken the X amount, and they calculate the breaks as well. So you're over X amount of breaks during that 8-hour period or whatever it is.
Yeah, right.
You will get fined. It's a big fine. For example, the poor bloke that had that accident last night with us, he wasn't allowed to drive anymore because he obviously was over his hours.
Oh, really? Oh,
and he's like, oh, I need to drive. I need to leave because he didn't want to obviously stay next to the fumes. Plus, his truck is now empty, which means that's full of fumes as well. And if someone lit it all up, everything's going to go.
It would. Yeah, and if that caught fire inside the actual canister, then that would fucking explode.
Oh, fucking oath, yeah. So if he was sleeping in his truck and it all happened, it would kill him. Plus, also he's sleeping around like, gases and shit like that. Like, it's not really safe for him. And we're like, just go to the truck stops. They're not that too far from here. And he's like, oh yeah, but I'm over my hours and blah blah blah. And we're just like, dude, no one's gonna do you for moving yourself out of a hazardous environment. Like, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
Something needs to change because obviously the system we have in place is not effective, or it's either it's not good by the sounds of it. It's okay. It needs to be more effective in LA. It needs to take into consideration how fucking big Australia is.
Yeah, they need to do something about it. So, like, a lot of the Indian drivers, they'll tag team it, so there'll be like 2 to 3 drivers in one truck. And
some people can't compete with that.
No, that's the reason why they get hired a lot. And the weird thing about it is they'll hire one person.
Yeah.
So they'll hire such and such. And then such and such has 2 other friends that he's now paying to help share the workload. So he gets the same wage as, well, a lot of times he gets paid under, but anyway, he gets paid a wage and then he'll usually divvy it out to his friends that help him. Like, or they just help him because they're friends. I don't know. Each situation is different, but that's generally what happens. And so they can rotate driving. But the problem is they're the worst because they don't know how to drive a truck. I honestly think, and I feel that if you come to our country, it doesn't matter if you have a truck license in India, particularly India. I think you just need to I think you really need to reset another test because
you really need to understand how the country works in order to live here.
Well, even drive a truck, these guys can't reverse. Like, you watch them reverse a B double, and they run into each other. Literally, they run into each other all the time.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, I've seen it. I was just like filling up one day, and she was crash and bang. And we're like, what the fuck is going on? And I look in front at the truck side where the trucks refuel their diesel and AdBlue.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know what happened, but they were trying to tow one truck with another truck, but they hooked up the chain to the fucking front bumper.
Oh my fucking god.
So they fucking ripped the front bumper off.
The front,
yeah,
like, oh my god.
And they're both Indian drivers coming out, and then the Aussie truck drivers are just like, what are you doing? And they're like, oh, we need to tow him out. He can't start it, blah, blah, blah. And he's just like, why didn't you use the tow points? Like this point and this point. Oh, no, it'll be fine.
No, it won't.
It
No,
wasn't.
no, it
You fucking
won't.
ripped your front
No.
bar off, like, you know.
You're talking about like you're trying to
mm.
move a multi-ton vehicle
Yeah,
with any. Wait.
he was fully trailered up too, so he had a trailer on the back
Oh,
as well.
even better.
Yeah, I know, it's stupid. Anyway, and they offered to help him. They were like, nah, nah, nah. And he's like, all right, fine, bye. Jumps his truck, drives
See ya.
off.
Yeah.
You know, and like, there's a lot of people as well that get bogged and then they call the emergency service to get them out because I don't know why, they're just incompetent. Like, why are you going on the beach with no recovery gear as well? Like,
What?
yeah, it happens all the time. Yeah. They drive on the beach and
Oh, you're talking about like four-wheel drive. You're not talking about like 18-wheeler trucks.
No. Well, there are some trucks that do it, like Unimog, like Mitsubishi Canters and stuff like that do it and they get bogged. But anyway, it's mostly like these people with full drives and they don't let their tires down.
That makes more sense.
They don't have recovery gear and they drive in the softest part of the beach. Then it get bogged and then they'll call the state emergency service to come rescue them. Yeah, it's stupid. Or another real perler that I see all the time is people will drive on a 40-degree day. I don't care if you're on holiday and you got somewhere to be, I wouldn't drive even in my perfectly functioning car at the moment. Touch wood. Never say that. Never say never.
Why is that? I'm just curious.
Well, okay, so the whole point of the radiator, right, and the cooling system and any cooling, every single cooling component, like oil coolers,
Yep.
transmission coolers, the whole works, right, is to bring the temperature down so in that way your car doesn't overheat.
Yep.
All right, so the ambient temperature, say, is 45 degrees.
Very hot, yeah.
Very hot. The road temperature will probably be closer to 60 to 70. That alone is going to add issues to your tires as well. One, your tires are going to start melting. The air in your tires are going to expand so crazy. So, say for example, you are running. Some people run 46 pound of pressure.
That's really high
for high road driving. Yeah, people do that. But then you add.
I could get 40, but 46 is fucking crazy.
Yeah, you got to remember the full drive tires are bigger.
PSI is a neutral.
Well, anyway, so they usually run like high, like the 40s, low 40s, high 40s. A lot of caravanners run them really high. I don't know why. Anyway,
right.
I run 38 because when I'm on a highway, it goes up to 42 because of the heat.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
I always go under because when I start driving, the temperature goes up, therefore the pressure goes up, therefore the PSI goes up, therefore it goes to the actual optimum high rate. But anyway, that's using your brain. People aren't doing that. So they'll drive like that. So how can you cool a car optimally if the ambient temperature is that hot that it's not too far from boiling point?
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
You know what I mean? It's like running a computer in a kitchen. So like you're gaming
a commercial
a commercial kitchen where it's like fucking 40 degrees all the time because it's always hot, and you're expecting your computer to run at like 50 degree at like 30 degrees. It's not going to happen because the ambient temperature is really hot. Same with a car. Like, how can the car disperse heat when the air coming in to cool it down is as hot, or as hot or close to the heat of the temperature that you want to try and get below? You know what I mean? Like, so you got 45 degrees ambient temperature. You got the heat from the road coming up. You got the heat from the engine. So everything's like in the 100-degree ambient temperature mark in the engine, and then you got to try and keep your oils and fluids below 100 degrees. Like, it's a lot of work on your car, and it ends up causing like a lot of wear and tear in that time period of running your engine because you're running it really, really hot. That's when things go bang. That's when things fail, and then also, like, you know, it's uncomfortable as well because like you're running your AC full blow, and you're driving a long period of time, and every time you get out the car, it's just not nice. And your car's not loving it either. Even if you got a brand new car that's running perfectly fine, I just don't. If you can avoid it, I wouldn't drive on a like 9-10 hour trip on a 40-degree day. It's just not.
Yeah.
Things fail at that sort of temperature. Oh yeah, it's a lovely bot there. Anyway, let's remove that one. How do I? So yeah, that's all I have to say about it really. And then and then there's obviously the caravanning situation that always happens every day. People buy caravans, don't have drive a caravan, and they drive a caravan oversized vehicle, and then wonder why their vehicle blows up.
Yeah.
Um.
I once had a guy. I
Yeah.
once worked with a bloke who basically smashed the mirror off of a I can't say what it is off of a vehicle.
Yeah.
And his basically his thought process was that he didn't realize that the mirrors were wider than the vehicle.
Even though you can see them.
Yes.
Yeah, dumbass. What's a really funny one that I've seen?
Another one, the same bloke too. So one time he rear-ended somebody
Yeah.
in one of the work vans, and then it got fixed, right?
Yeah.
And then everyone's thought process was, well, that was kind of weird, but surely it won't happen again, right? So it happened again after it
Yeah.
got fixed.
Yep. Yep. I reckon my brother was telling me a story. He was with his mate and they had a car trailer on the back. They were heading out to race. And
Yeah.
some woman turned into the car trailer.
What?
Yeah, like
Turned into the car
yeah.
trailer.
Now there's a race car on top of this, so it was a Commodore.
Oh
It was
no.
a car trailer, and you know how long they are. And
Yeah.
they were towing in what was it? I think it was a territory, like a turbo, like a barrow territory turbo thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, she just full on turned into them. She was trying to change lanes, but she changed into the trailer. Like she
hell.
like was just driving along, and they just said they were looking in the mirrors because as they do, they're keeping on the trailer, and they just see her go smack straight into the trailer.
Oh wow.
Bent up the guard and the wheel and damaged the back of the trailer as well. Her car was fucked.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, like ripped so much out of her car. And then
Well, she'll never do that
and then
again.
she goes, "You should give Ray to me because you have a trailer."
What?
What the fuck? And then they were just like, "You should not turn into a fucking trailer that's next to you."
That is
Should
one of
open
the
your
dumbest
eyes.
arguments I've ever heard in my entire fucking
hell.
life. You should give me away to me because I have a trailer. And that's not how that works.
Yeah,
How do you even do that?
And they were just flabbergasted at how stupid she was. And then she called the police, and the police were involved and whatnot. And at first she was like, "They drove into me. They cut me off. They changed lanes into me." And
a lie of an entitled bitch. We
and
love
then
those.
The cop just like asked them, and they're just like, "We're just driving along, and we just see her in the rearview mirror just drive straight into us." And he's like, "Wait, really?" And they're like, "Yeah, look at the damage. Look at her damage, and look at our damage. It you can see the side of the car hit the trailer first.
Yeah.
It's like if we drove into her, it would be like the front bumper, and it'd be like on an angle."
Yeah.
And he looks at her car, and he looks at the trailer, and he's like, yeah, I think she's telling a fib there."
Yeah.
Yeah, the insurance company as well tried going after them.
Of course they did.
Of course, yeah. And they said that, and they're like, "Oh, well, do you have dash cam footage?" And like, can't really have dash cam footage of a trailer. Sorry, it's not really possible unless you have a GoPro all the time on trailer. But who does that?
Yeah, like it's not practically reasonable.
Yeah, no. Even if you had a reverse, like a dash cam on the rear, like you're not going to see it because it's a car trailer. It's pretty wide.
Yeah,
and
you need a camera literally on every
car,
angle.
Yeah, and there's a car literally in front of it, so you're not going to see past the track car on it as well.
Yeah.
So like, fuck's sake, fucking idiot. And then like, there was another story. Same guy that was driving that day. He told me
idiot
a story.
magnet.
No, he drives all the time, so he's always experienced.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
He was riding his motorcycle, and he was riding through the hills. And Anyway, and as he comes around a bend, this car was on the wrong side of the road and almost cleaned him out.
Oh.
So, you know, there's no reason for this car to be on the wrong side of the road. So, he said he stopped. He composed himself because he saw the light briefly.
Yeah.
He
Yeah, I
turned
bet he
around.
did.
He turned around. He chased down the driver. He pulled the driver out of the car.
Oh, wow.
And he taught
Okay.
him a very, very hard lesson.
Yeah, I bet.
And then got on his bike and drove off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was funny when he told us that. We're like, what happened? And he's like, well, he pissed himself and he started crying. And he's like,
Yeah, I bet.
that's when I did my job. And then he got on his bike and rode off back to where he was going. But he won't do
Far
that
out.
again. Yeah.
No.
Fucking that was deserved. I don't think he actually hurt him. I just think he pulled him out of the vehicle and just really scared the fuck out of him. Thought he was going to probably get murdered. But, you know, like, it's just, yeah. It's almost like people get so caught up in their own world that they just, like, you know, they get the tunnel vision and there's just everything in it is just not there. It's like when you go to the city and, like, you say,
you'll know you can never pay me to drive in the city.
Like, you go in the city, even just walk, even just walking in the city, like, people are just oblivious to everyone else on the streets. Like, you'll be walking along and they'll walk into you because they're just not paying attention to what they're doing. It's the exact same on the road. It's the exact same everywhere. Like, we used to always have issues when we go camping as a family, and we used to go to the Riverland, and we'll set up camp. And this place, there's on a property, it's pretty big. There's a lagoon on one side, like a billabong on one side, and then there's a the Murray River on the other side. We used to always camp on the lagoon side because it had more shade, and there was less people usually, and also we didn't have the jet skis going up and down all day, annoying the fuck out of us.
Yeah.
The lagoon you could kayak on, but it was like really shallow. You could walk across the whole thing. It wasn't a very deep billabong. I wouldn't do it because it was so muddy, but you could. Anyway, so there's all this space, and we all camped up, and we're sitting in our chairs, and then this fucking random family in the caravan decide to set up right next to us. Like this,
that'd be fun.
It's open season. You can go everywhere. So what does my dad do in response? He sets up the toilet tent facing their caravan, leaves the door open, goes and takes a shit in front of them. They packed up and moved real quick.
Yeah, I bet.
I was like, what is wrong with you? You go out camping to get the fuck away from people, not to fucking socialize. Like, oh my god. Fucking numpties. There's so much space, so much prime space that they could have camped at, and they camped right next to us. Fucking dumbasses. Anyway. So, you got any other, like, funny stories?
What am I thinking? What other dumb stories do I have?
I am limited on what I can say, though, because I can't say too much of dumb stories because it can bite me in the ass, but...
Yeah. Okay, I'll show you I'll a story about myself. So, a few months ago, I upgraded the RAM on my computer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I upgraded, what was it? I upgraded two things. It was the hard drive, the hard disk drive. I upgraded from a 2 terabyte to an 8 terabyte. Oh. And I upgraded my RAM, so it was, instead of 16 RAM, it was 64 gigs of RAM.
Yeah.
So I put it all together. I've cloned the drive. I put the new RAM sticks in. I launch it all up. It starts to launch up, and then it shuts down immediately. And then it turns back on, and then shuts down immediately. I'm thinking, oh fuck.
Why? What's going on here? Like,
yeah, why is this not working? It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I really want to go to bed, but why is this happening? So I'm like on my phone doing research about, why is this not working?
Yeah.
And then I came across this I forget where it was that I looked at, but essentially I came across this tidbit that's saying like, yeah, you check that your RAM sticks aren't loose. And so I checked and all my RAM sticks I hadn't pushed all the way in yet. So I thought, and then I turned it back on and then it launched just fine. And I'm like, oh, that was the problem. It's time to go to bed now.
You silly, silly, silly goose.
uh,
It's like in the old days of like overclocking, like how overclocking used to be real dangerous. You could like fry your CPU
Right.
and stuff.
Yeah.
And I used to know people that were like accidentally put their like voltage slider all the way to the top without realizing what they were doing.
Oh
Fucking fry their
no!
computer, yeah.
Oh no! No, that's never supposed to
Buddy,
happen.
My brother, he used to booby trap his computer.
What does that
and
mean?
I'll explain. So he
Okay.
didn't like people touching his computer, right? He was very possessive
Right.
over his computer.
Yes.
And
his search history.
And so he now this is obviously an older computer, so it's the old white tower. Well, his was black actually those days.
Oh
like,
yeah.
The old bloody
I actually have one of those. My dad's old computer. I have one of those
like,
computers.
This
Yeah.
is before plasma screens, flat screens, had an old IBM fucking monitor, the whole works. Anyway, his computer was like, it was before Ryzen came out and all that sort of stuff, so it was quite a long time ago. Anyway,
Ryzen came out in 2016. What are you talking about?
He had this is like 2008, 2007.
Yeah. Okay.
It was a while ago now. So his tower had like a DVD burner because he used to obviously Pirate Bay was his friend, and he would like,
of course,
burn heaps of movies and games and all sorts of stuff for the PlayStation and whatnot. So he had a stacker, and he had 3 of them. So he had the main disk drive, which came with the computer that he bought. Then he had a normal stacker that he used to burn DVDs on and CDs. And then he had this other one that he like took apart, gutted, and modified. If you turned on his computer without doing the sequence that none of us knew, and he would always change the sequence on it, it would fucking fire discs at you. When I was a kid,
that's amazing.
Yeah, so when I was a kid, like I got on his computer, and the first time it happened to me, I turned on his computer because Mum asked me to look something up, and I was like, "Oh, it'll be easy to go on his computer because his computer's a lot faster than Mum and Dad's." Mum and Dad's was like an old piece of shit.
Yeah,
and plus they didn't have internet anyway. So, but so I got on his computer to do something on it or something like that. Anyway, and I turn it on, and just. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then next minute, this fucking disc flies at me. And I fucking dodge out of the way, and it just explodes as it hits the wall. And then it just keeps firing until I had nothing left. Oh my fucking god. And then, like, it gets home, and I just hear, "Who the fuck has been in my room?" No one. What are you talking about? It's like, someone fucking tried touching my computer. Who the fuck fucked with it? And I was just like, no one. It's like, this is the reason why I fucking made it do this. It's like, carry on. I know what you're talking about. No one was in there. Why is these discs everywhere? Like,
I don't know. Why you asked that question?
You know the answer to that. Built by design.
Yeah.
It's fucking funny.
No, I have my dad's computer. I think I don't know when he bought it. It was either 1999 or the year 2000. And it's got like it's I remember it being an XP machine.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure it doesn't work. I've opened it up. I've had a look on the inside, and I thought, wow, an 80 gigabyte hard disk drive. That's amazing.
So the first computer I think my parents had was a Commodore 64.
Oh yeah.
And then, because it was all my brother. My brother's always been the tech sav. Now it's funny that I'm now like, I know more than him. I know a lot more. He tries to like be smart to me now, and I'm just like, nah, it's not how it works these days, man. You're so far behind the times. Like, nah. And like he got so jealous because he built mum a computer and it was a heap of shit. And then he also like, he fucked with the directory and the registry directory and all that sort of shit. Like, yeah, he
Oh,
really fucked it up.
don't touch it.
Me and Ray ended up just like wiping it completely. Just refresh Windows, installed a SSD so it'd run better. It did. And then eventually I was like, you know what, Mum? I'm gonna pitch in with everyone and we're gonna build you a computer. So I built her a really like high-end computer. I used a Lee dynamic case, a really good motherboard. She's got an i7 in it. She doesn't need it, but she's got one. Doesn't have a graphics card. She doesn't need one. Well, she does and she doesn't at the same time. Like she does need one for one of her photo editing programs actually requires one.
Yep.
But I've been trying to convince her to get one, but she won't. She just doesn't want to cough up the money for it. It's fair enough. They're expensive. But anyway, it's a really, really good computer. And one of the rules I said to her is don't let my brother touch it. Because I know he will sabotage it.
Oh my god.
He's, yeah. He would. He totally would fuck with it. And then he'll blame me. Because he would just totally should stare that way. Anyway, and yeah, so I said to him like that, and he just went all quiet, and then he was just saying, "Mum's just gonna, not know what to do on it." And we spelled it out, like everything's labeled in this, so we've told her where things need to go and showed her and all that stuff. Plus, she's got like shitload of memory anyway. She has an 8 terabyte hard drive. Like, she's not gonna fill that up anytime soon or anything like that. Yeah, no, she's got a 1 terabyte SSD for the boot drive. Then she's got a brand new 8 terabyte hard drive. Then she's got 4 terabyte hard drives as well.
Yeah, nice.
So like when it comes to space and disk space and stuff like that, she's got more storage than she ever needs.
Yeah.
And each one's labeled for what purpose it's for. And then we also got her another 2 terabyte SSD, which is her photo editing drive. So when she's editing photos, it goes to that because it's nice and fast. And then I told her when you finish your photos and you've done your album, you then transfer it to long-term storage, which is an 8 terabyte storage device designed for long-term storage. It's spinning disk. Because spinning disks are the best for long-term storage. People don't realize that SSDs are really, really good for like fast for workflow. So usually the optimum things for video editing, SSDs are really good for workflow. So like when I edit videos and stuff, it's usually on an SSD, and then I'll transfer it to a spinning disk for storage, where it just sits. Because the problem with spinning disks is the time it takes to search for the file and the continuous rewriting over time, they wear out. But if you use it for long-term storage, it's not being used that much. So you increase its life. So that's why they can last a lot longer. With SSDs, once you turn the computer on, the SSD is already active. And SSDs do fail. SSDs aren't as good for long-term as they are as spinning disks are in terms of longevity. Which is weird.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Well, you would, I can see why you would think that. So basically all that those are is basically just transistors. Transistors, you basically got transistors versus magnetic discs. Or is it magnetic? It doesn't matter. Basically, the discs in a hard disk drive. I don't know if they're magnetic or not, admittedly, but transistors do have a lifespan, essentially.
And every time you power the computer on, those transistors are powered, essentially, which is why they do have a lifespan. It is a long lifespan, but problem is with data, you don't want your data stored on something that won't that could potentially fail. That's why NAS storages have backups. That's why they have the RAID. What would you call RAID?
RAID. I actually don't really know
Protocol?
much about RAID at all.
Is it a protocol? Maybe it is a protocol. I don't know.
Well, yeah. I mean, it would. I guess it would be a protocol if
It
you're
would
talking
be, I
about like
think, yeah.
SATA and M.2 and then RAID and then and
Well,
whatnot. That would be a
RAID,
protocol.
yeah, RAID's like, so the way RAID works, say for example you've got eight terabyte hard drives, or fuck, let's just go 16 terabyte hard drives.
Yeah.
The way RAID works is it always backs up those hard drives onto each other. So if it will partition a amount on each hard drive to back themselves up. So whenever one fails, you don't lose your data on that one. The other
Right.
so if one fails, the other 7 have backed up that one. So then that way you don't have to worry about losing your data. And then when you put and replace a new drive in there, you can transfer all that data back over and it will back that up again. And then when another one fails at a different bank, it will do the exact same thing, so on and so forth. So only when you get a catastrophic fail where something's happened, like a power surge or something like that, and it's wiped all of them. That's when it's not really effective, but nothing's effective. That. Or fire.
Or a fire. That won't help either.
But that's essentially how it works. Obviously, you can set up differently. You can have like a dedicated... so say, for example, you got 8 terabytes and then you have an additional 8 that are for backups. Some people do that as well, where they're exact copies of each drive.
Right.
So for example, bay 1, so it's like, they're like this. So the 8 top, 8 bottom. So bay 1, so the top bank is the original, and then the second bank is the copies. So then bay 1 is copied by the bay below it, bay 2, so on and so forth. But then they also have the RAID protocol within them, so if the backups fail, they the other bays also have copies of the data as well to share it out evenly. Because the whole point of sharing the data out evenly is so you don't like use up one hard drive. So it's like
fair enough.
out. Yeah, it makes sense anyway.
Yeah, I've also been sort of thinking about that as well.
Yeah, I could be completely wrong, but that's how I've been explained it anyway.
Oh, okay. I've also been thinking about with the whole, because I'm thinking about building an AM5 system this year. If I how would I, if I was to build a whole new system, which I likely am, what would I do differently to my first system? And I think I will put video games on an M.2.
I definitely think you should.
Yeah, because I think I've realized that my hard disk drive it's basically it's at 100% resources when it's loading in a game.
Yeah, no.
When you launch it, it's like, okay.
Your computer will run completely different. I don't even know how you play Helldivers on a fucking spinning disc. It's not even supposed to be possible. I don't know how you do it.
Oh, really?
It's literally a requirement. It's literally.
Really?
Yeah, it's literally a requirement of the game.
I have broken through 2 different games minimum requirements.
So my
Space Engineers 2, my graphics card isn't even enough supposedly for it to be able to run minimum, but apparently my system works with it just fine.
So I need to upgrade my storage on my computer. Well, not upgrade, but increase it. So because I'm dancing with fire. So my C drives are 1 terabyte. 980, so it's the fastest drive you can get that isn't Gen 5.
Right.
So it's Gen 4. I didn't want to spend the money on Gen 5, it's just not needed. So it's the fastest Gen 4 you can get. I always go Samsung because I just find them more reliable. Stay away from Seagate because they just always fail.
I've had
I've had so many Seagates fail.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I've had Crucials fail, and I stay away from like Pony, stuff like that. Anyway,
I've never even heard of Pony.
That fucking failed after a year. Piece of shit. Anyway,
all right.
The second drive is a 2 terabyte 890 Gen 4 SSD M.2. So that's for gaming. So all my games get loaded onto that. Then I've got a SATA SSD. It's a 4 terabyte SATA drive that's in the because I've got a XL Dynamic Evo, so I've got the big boy.
Yeah.
So I actually have hot swappable drive bays in that case, which is really handy. It's just basically plug and play. I don't
Yeah,
have
right.
to do wires or anything. It's all done. I just basically fucking slot in my drive and she's in. And then my video editing stuff is on a portable 4 terabyte, which that's the dancing with fire. I really need to have a dedicated spinning disc for my video stuff because I got
Yeah, it's
hours
fair.
and hours and hours of editing footage and that on that thing. Because I run everything at 1080p or 1440p, so the files aren't that big. That's why I can get away with a 4 terabyte. But I eventually want to get like an 8 terabyte, put it all on that. And then I have shitloads of fucking backups just scattered out, just heaps of portables that I've backed everything up on. So yeah, that's sort of what I've got in hardware, like storage on my computer. Yeah, I really did spend a lot of money on that computer, but I love it.
Yeah, I don't know how much money I'm going to spend on it or whatnot, but
I don't know. It's up
a
to
few
you. Like
$1,000.
it's up to you. You don't want to skimp out. So the motherboard you can sort of get away with. Like for AM5, you can just have a B motherboard because that's fine. You don't need a X motherboard. B motherboard is perfectly fine. Graphics card wise, like the new AMD's offerings are pretty reasonable price. They're not high end graphics cards, so they're perfectly fine for gaming applications.
Yeah.
Or if you want to go NVIDIA route, it really doesn't matter.
No.
They both use a stupid high powered connectors, but at least with AMD's, their connectors actually in the middle of the graphics cards, so then that way it's easier to route without bending the wires, which is nice. Take a fucking book, NVIDIA. Anyway, yeah, it's funny. AMD comes along and goes, your high-powered connector's still melting, still having issues. Let's show you up and let's do it the proper way. And then they do it. And it's just like, fuck you, basically. Don't skimp out on your because you're doing flow work, like obviously music editing and whatnot.
Yeah. Well,
And
music isn't very high. It's not high resource
it's not,
task
but
thing.
if you want to do something in the future, like you probably want something from like a 7 onwards.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go Ryzen 5 because like Ryzen 5 just limits you really for gaming alone. I'm like you can do everything on it, just slower, that's all. RAM rise, don't get, if you get AM5, don't get any more than 2 sticks. RAM's AM5 does not like 4 sticks. Doesn't
really?
Yeah, it doesn't like it. It won't boot properly. Sometimes it will boot and then it just will suddenly stop booting, and then you're like, oh fuck, it's the RAM, and you end up bought 2 new RAM sticks and it just doesn't work. It just annoys me. You can run them, but you just have to turn Expo off, which is like, well, I'm paying all this money for this fast RAM speed, and I'm not using it. What's the point of paying this money for it? You know,
Capacity. More capacity.
No,
So
you
what
don't
I'm
need
thinking
it.
about doing for RAM, I mean, at first, because the motherboard is capable of 256 gigabytes. So what I'm thinking about doing is getting I think the highest you can get in a stick is 32 gigabytes. So what I'm thinking about getting
Yeah.
is 2 32 gigabyte
Yeah,
sticks just to start off with.
that's all you need. Honestly, you will not need more, because I've got two 16
yeah.
gig sticks. You won't need it.
Well, I mean, like, if I want to do more than gaming, like if I'm in a big, heavy audio
You
production,
won't
then
need it.
we'll find out one way.
These RAM sticks are that fucking fast that by the time, so say you load them up to 100%, by the time you start on the next task, 5 of those tasks are already completed.
Right.
That's how quick it is. Like you don't like, when I'm like, say for example, I'm video editing on one screen and I'm gaming on the other screen. I have found that I've started bogging down a bit doing that. I haven't in the past, but now all of a sudden I am, and it doesn't matter. And I'm looking at my RAM percentage, and the RAM percentage is like 60%. And I'm video editing at 1440p. My CPU and GPU are 100%, but my RAM's not.
Yeah, I'd say that's why you're bogging down.
Yeah, that's exactly why I'm bogging down.
Yeah.
Honestly, for me to do that, for me to be able to video edit and game at the same time, I need like a Ryzen 9.
Yeah, I wanted to go with a
16 core or a 12 core. I've got
yeah.
8.
So
I've got
I
8, and that's
think
yeah.
I've decided that I want to go with the 9900X.
Yeah.
Just so I can use air
Yeah.
cooler on it.
Yeah, definitely. So
yeah, I'm still like the motherboard is one thing because like I've learned that the two things you need, the only two things you really need to be concerned about with the motherboard, other than the actual CPU compatibility, is the number of PCIe lanes, and there was one other thing.
Just make sure whatever motherboard you get, I mean they all have it now, but make sure it has a quick release for your graphics card. It's just it's just a little button. Trust me, you want it because the graphics these days, graphics cards you can't. If you don't have that, you can't get the graphics card off the motherboard. I mean, you cannot.
Okay, you're talking about Asus's problem at the moment.
No, all graphics cards. If it doesn't have a quick release, most of them do now. So you probably find the one you're after's got it. It's just basically a little button on the side of the motherboard out of the way that you can get access to no matter what to be able to release your graphics card from the PCIe lanes, PCIe slot. Because the conventional little tabs that you push down on standard motherboards cannot be reached on a modern graphics card. You cannot get access to them because they're so chunky. They go over the whole fucking thing. You cannot get in there. Trust me, you can't. I've tried.
Well, I'll just keep that in mind when I'm buying the motherboard.
Really keep that in mind. It's like it's a little thing that is on a lot of them, but it's once you have it, you're like, okay, I'm glad I got it because that was one of the main factors. Because I knew that I was going for the 79 XTX, and the 79 XTX is the same size as a 49 series graphics card, so it's a big chunk.
Yeah, right.
Maybe not as long as the ROG Strix, but anyway, and the one thing like everyone said on the forums and like online was like, do not get a motherboard that doesn't have a quick release. You will not be able to get your thing off. And like looking at it now, like if I didn't have that, there's no way I could even get a pick under the side because the heat shield on the M.2 drive's high, and even if I was to remove it, I still couldn't get under there. The graphics card is fucking huge and it's heavy. So there's no way, but you know, obviously I've got a motherboard with all the bells and whistles anyway, so.
The second thing I remembered about motherboards, so there's two things you need to really take into consideration: the PCIe lanes and the PCIe generation, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, pretty much. Motherboards are simple. A lot of people overspend on motherboards. Like the one Ray's got is probably the best cost value motherboard you could get. Because it's a B series. It's cheaper than mine, and it has more features than mine. The only one thing it doesn't have that mine has is Wi-Fi 6E. So it's just got Wi-Fi 6.
Oh, just built-in Wi-Fi.
No, all motherboards come standard with built-in Wi-Fi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, the days of buying a non-Wi-Fi board are kind of like not really around unless you go really, really cheap, like $200 board. But who the fuck's going to be spending $200 on a board unless it's like office work? But yeah, no, they all got inbuilt Wi-Fi now, which is good because you don't want to use another slot for a fucking Wi-Fi card like I had to do a Razer old computer.
Especially if you plan on using certain SATA inputs or certain M.2 inputs.
Yeah, plus they're also like really shitty. They they take up a USB slot and they cut out a lot. They're not that great. But anyway, it's what it is. But yeah, I think that's the only difference. Her board's even got the diagnostics panel on it, So mine doesn't.
Oh
have
hell
that.
yeah.
Yeah, so on the top right hand corner, it's got the number codes,
Yeah.
which I don't understand. Like mine's like $100 more than hers, but yet it doesn't have that little feature. Like, why do you not have that there? Because I have to use the lights. And the lights aren't that helpful because at least with the numbers, like it tells you exactly what's wrong. It will tell you the code for the RAM. It will tell you the code for the CPU. It will tell you the code for the power. It will tell you the code for boot issues. Mine's just a fucking. It would just sit there on a white light, and I look up on the thing, and the white light could mean 8 different things. It's like, ah. So anyway, all right,
You've
we
got
gotta-
an Asus motherboard, don't you?
yeah, I like Asus. Even though people hate them, I still like them.
Okay.
I haven't any issues with it.
Fair enough.
The only issues I've
I
had
really
is-
like ASRock.
The only issues I have is with Windows.
Yeah.
And it must be an AM. No, because Raze doesn't do it. But what will happen is I will install a driver for my CPU and my AM5 platform through AMD Adrenalin.
Yeah.
And then Windows will decide, oh, we need to update your system. And then they just like delete everything AMD's done and then just fucking balk it. Happens also. And I've gone in and disabled Windows updates. Like I've turned it off. And like through the background menus and shit. And like Ray helped me out twice. Still doing it. It will not listen to me. Yeah, it's really annoying. It's frustrating. Like last night when the internet started bogging down, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I go through everything and like there's no updates. So I'm like, what the hell's going on? I start going into the Windows updates menu. There's no updates. So I'm like, control panel, go through there. Oh, look at that. There's a Windows update. So doing it in the background, it's hiding from me, the fucker. It's like, you can't see neither me from in here. Just like, fuck you. It was doing it was doing a security thing, but it was still downloading at the same time. It's just annoying. I think it was to do with Windows Defender, which I did say yes to that, obviously. Because I don't run like antivirus software. I use Windows Defender because it's actually really good. So
That's fair.
it works. It's updated daily, so yeah, tells me if something's wrong. That's all you want.
Yeah, that's easy.
Yeah. Just trying to find something to raid into.
Nah, fair enough. I'm a big fan of. I mean, my first build was ASRock, and
Yeah.
I've just had no problems with them whatsoever.
Oh, fair enough.
So I'm just going to stick with ASRock motherboard for my next build. And ASRock also make graphics cards, so I'm going to see if I can't get an ASRock.
They do make
59.
good graphics cards, yeah.
Yeah, so assuming I can actually get one.
Yeah.
I want to get a. I'm debating whether I get a 9070 or a 9070 XTX. Let's see.
9070 XTX, you mean XT? I would get the XT because there's not that much difference in price.
Yeah.
The XT's just got a bit more VRAM, I think, and it's a little bit faster. You might if you can afford it, you should always go for the one up. You'd be happy.
Yeah.
With
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Especially with the way.
Oh yeah, it's only a little bit pricier.
It's not much more. Yeah. That's why I ended up getting the 79 XTX when I had it because it dropped down on price to like 1,000 and something. Normally it's like
sold out, of course.
Yeah, it will be. Anyway, we're gonna call it a day. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you have a good night and day depending on the world. And we're gonna raid into this person playing Repo. And yeah, let's have some fun. All right, catch you all later. See you next time.
See ya.